That's excellent. I'm very, very thankful. I didn't mention the fact, just so we all know, Senator Bob Smith is the chairman of the Senate Environmental and, what is it, Energy and Environment Committee?
Actually, it's Environment and Energy. But it's
Environment and Energy. And so much of the good legislation that gets generated about our environment and energy here in New Jersey comes out of that committee. There's a similar one in the Assembly. But Bob has really been a champion, and he's also been, interestingly enough, considered been named a legislator of the year by such diverse groups as the New Jersey Recreation and Parks Association, as well as the New Jersey Chamber of Commerce. So very broad-shouldered, progressive legislator that's really actually doing something about our energy policy and our environmental issues. Thanks again. Bob, I don't know, can you wait till...
Yeah, I'm going to try and stay in for the whole panel.
Okay, great, great. Thanks again. It's my pleasure now to introduce Upendra Chivukula. Upendra was originally started working at AT&T Labs. He was there for about 17 years. Then he was elected mayor of Franklin Township and decided to go to the legislature, where he served for the last 13 years. And again, very much on the environmental committee, and you have a different name for it. What was it? Solid waste and...
Yeah, telecommunication and utilities committee.
Telecommunication and, yeah. So that's the committee he is here. And you were one of the original proponents of the Assembly side of the original PACE legislation. And he was a deputy speaker before he was appointed recently to be a commissioner of the BPU. So with that as a background, I give you the Honorable Mr. Chivukula.
Thank you, Gus. And it's indeed an honor to be on panel with Governor Florio and Senator Bob Smith and Deputy Mayor Nitin Talley from Voorhees Township. And I want to thank NJ Pace for inviting me here today. I just want to make a disclaimer that the comments I'm going to make are not the comments of the Board of Public Utilities, but as an individual commissioner, I get the comments. And I've been involved in the energy policy for a number of years, along with Senator Smith. And well, the first PACE legislation, which is currently the law, was the author of that legislation. And when you look at the New Jersey's energy policy, when New Jersey went into deregulation in 1999, we set up an 8% requirement for renewable energy portfolio standard, which subsequently was increased to 22.5% of the energy has to come from the renewable energy sources. But if you look at the current portfolio, 47% or so comes from the nuclear energy, and about 47% comes from natural gas. And renewable energy is not even close to 5%. And we have aggressive solar policies that were instituted, and SREX prices went up very high and came down, and the correction legislation went into place and corrected that. One of the challenges we have in New Jersey is that for financing for renewable energy, especially when natural gas prices came to around $3 per BTU, and it is very difficult for renewable energy to compete with such low prices of natural gas. And so we need to look at different options how we are going to do the financing of the renewable energy. And Energy Master Plan is a document. It is just a roadmap where you want to go. And the current version goes back to 2011. It is in the process of being updated to take into consideration some of the challenges that we faced during Hurricane Sandy, and try to see how we can not only talk about reliability, we want to bring in the resiliency. And that's what I think the current legislation, for the PACE legislation, is trying to bring in some of the resiliency aspects into the PACE law, the current law. And New Jersey is a very interesting state in that you have 566 municipalities, 21 counties, and when you try to implement programs like this, municipality by municipality, it's quite a time-consuming thing. So we need to figure out, maybe there is a, in terms of implementation, try to see whether you can take more regional approach, making use of the county utilities authorities, and try to see how you can try to come up with that private and public partnership and try to do the financing. And New Jersey Board of Public Utilities have several programs. One program which is working is the ESIP program, Employee Savings Energy Savings Improvement Program, and that is one of the things that is working, and trying to see how municipalities can